Hello and welcome to the July 4th, actually July 3rd installment of at Sentinel Food Court Racer on the YouTube verse. Once again, it is Daniel Wolfson coming to you from Watertown, Massachusetts. Epiphanies on the eve of July 4th. Epiphanies on the eve of July 4th. To say it again, first one, the race boots, the lightweight Brooks Ghost Max 3s. I had a pair of orthopedic insoles in them, and I just decided to put my regular sock liners in. Why? Because I'm completely exhausted today. On Monday, I had a meeting with my lead recovery clinician. On Tuesday, I had a meeting with my peer specialist, a meeting with my social worker, my therapist, master's in social work. On Monday and Wednesday, I had physical therapy. I managed to get in a 7-mile bike ride to community rowing and back, where I did a half sprint to the top of Speed Bump. And I did a 1 mile run, 1.16 to be exact, mile run, thereby confirming my 38 milliliters per kilogram per minute VO2 max, or volume of oxygen squared maximum uptake. 38, baby, going strong and going long. So, to say why I took out the orthopedic insoles, I just didn't feel like doing much of anything today. So I figured if I was going to get out of the house, might as well do it with the least resistance as possible. The orthopedic insoles are rigid, and I just wanted to be in pure, cushiony, cloudy glory. Will I put the insoles back in? I might. I'm starting to come to realize that I eat too much when I don't exercise. And that would probably put on a lot of pounds, take away from my lung capacity. And, I still think I should exercise. I still think I should run a mile. I still think I should sometimes ride to community rowing. When physical therapy discharges me, I'll be at the clubhouse more often and less abated with fatigue. Physical therapy sessions are about 45 to 50 minutes long, and they're quite energy intensive, especially for the doctor of physical therapy that works with me. But for me, they also are. So, I want to talk to you. I want to check in. Knock, 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 knock. We're checking in, buddy. Checking in about the symptoms that I experience in my schizophrenia. I am not lazy. I would appear to be boring to some because of my facial affect not being as animated as most people's. Some people have their own YouTube channel and are all out. Their faces are going every which way. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're talking with their friends who are also on this post. But for me, it's a vlog, man. It's a vlog. And so that's one thing, boring, but I'm not lazy. I do things during the week, during the day. I hear voices, but it's more that I think about people talking. It doesn't always happen. If I'm involved in some conversation with someone that I care about, there's not an overarching voices coming at me while I'm talking with someone. It's kind of when I'm just drinking coffee or chewing on my nicotine gum in bed and surfing the web. As they say, devil's hand, idle hands do the devil's work. And it's kind of the case with the thoughts that I think about of people talking to me. Sometimes they might make me giggle, and they have. Sometimes on my uh, transportation vendor to or from an appointment, I might start giggling at my voices as I'm thinking about people telling funny jokes about funny situations, and I think that it kind of scares the vendor driver. And I'm on a great medication to help me with that, but nothing's perfect. So yeah, I'm in therapy every week now, and it's been once a month, but that was just for 1 month, and then we had to go back to every other week. And now it's every week because my therapist has some extra time, and I could always use someone to talk to. A listening ears never hurt me. Um, to give you an example of the types of voices that I've been hearing today, thinking about people partying it up on, I wouldn't say partying it up in a purely jovial sense, but maybe people doing certain types of substances, a circle of friends doing certain substance, and the kinds of conversation that might surround that. I've been in drug circles, marijuana, and you know nothing too great for me. It never really took the cake, but for some, you know, the big show is not the Tour de France. For me, it kind of was. But for some, the big show is the social sphere, the sphere of socialization. What goes with that? The popularity, the clothing, playing football, playing baseball, one of the major sports, um, and the social groups that form out of that. Being in AP classes, going to an Ivy League school. I was more interested in reading bicycling periodicals and books about biking. So that's what I did. I could write not based on the syntactic knowledge, the knowledge of grammar. Uh, I didn't really have much innate knowledge of what a subject before predicate meant, or pronouns. I knew a little bit about pronouns, verbs, adjectives, nouns. That I did pretty much know about, but subjects, predicates, I had a good understanding of the structure of the paragraph, the introductory, the supporting, maybe two or three supporting the concluding part of the paragraph. The next one supporting the intro, I knew that. But a lot of my verbiage and my grammatical impulses were gleaned from the readings that I did in cycling periodicals, which I felt were well written. Um, that big show for me was just a fantasy. And I learned that upon my actual diagnosis of schizophrenia, when I realized that I was not going to go to the Tour de France, not going to go to the Olympics, not going to go to the World Championships. I wasn't going to make any money ever riding a bike. And that's when I had to get into the nuts and bolts of how I could recover from schizophrenia, which is where I am today. So, on this July 4th Eve, put your thinking caps on, think of safety, thinking of sustenance, thinking of friends, and thinking of lovers. And think, but please, think with your thinking caps. Cheers.